Okay, so summing things up here with the GTI. This is a fun car. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and I'm finally going to be reviewing the all-new Volkswagen Golf GTI. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the strong Volkswagen here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this GTI. This particular GTI is available for sale right now. It's an Autobahn edition with the dual clutch transmission. So if you're interested, I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out the other stuff they have currently. And then if you have any questions or need any help whatsoever, just ask for Alex. And then on a side note, if you want to save time money the next time purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that is paired to a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 25 around town, and then 34 on the highway, with power outputs being 241 horsepower and then 273 pound-feet of torque. And just like the previous generation GTI, this is front-wheel drive, and you can also get a manual as well. It's actually standard, but the dual-clutch is an option. But yeah, you get what I mean. Let's go over the front end of the GTI. So first off, you guys can see you've got really distinctive lines on either side of the hood, which I think looks so cool. And then coming down below, we've got these really cool daytime running lights. By the way, they don't flicker in real life. That's just because of the frame rate of the camera. And then you guys can see the LED headlamps. And notice the daytime running light actually continues into the grille. So it gives us a super distinctive appearance at night. And then I love the red accenting there. It's kind of like a GTI thing. And then obviously you got the GTI logo there off to the side with the Volkswagen logo front and center. And then we actually have some more lights down below off to the side in the grille, which again gives it more of a distinct appearance at night. You just know it's a GTI instantly. Parking sensors on the front end, and I love this white metallic paint. It definitely looks great, but there's the front. Now coming on the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 235, 35, 19 in the front and over in the rear as well. And something else to mention is we do have a limited slip differential. So even though this is front wheel drive, it should be able to put down the power pretty dang well. And then here's a quick look at the wheel design itself. I think the wheels look really cool. And then you can see the blacked out accenting. Now with the GTI, you do have slightly smaller brakes compared to the Golf R, which makes sense because this is a slightly lighter car with less horsepower. And then notice with the red brake caliper right there, got the GTI badge there on the side, and then you guys can see here with the side skirt. And if we take a few steps back, you know what, from a side perspective, I really like how this looks. Now normally I don't show the key fob of another vehicle, but I just wanted to highlight something. So this one is the key fob for another Volkswagen, actually that Arteon right there, and this is the key fob you typically see with most Volkswagen product. It's a nice key fob. Now this is the key fob for the GTI. It just has this like cooler, sleeker look, and I'm definitely all about it. And you know, it's got unlock, it's got lock function, then the, you know, unlock for the hatch as well, and you know, pretty straightforward. So as you guys can see, we have the hatch here. So notice we have a cargo cover already built in. And then here is the storage space in the rear. So the GTI is not a massive car, and so the storage space isn't like crazy large, but you know, it's decent enough. And then if we lift this up, you guys can see we've got a spare tire underneath as well that comes with the GTI, and yeah, pretty normal hot hatch stuff. You can fold down the seats if you do want a little bit more cargo room, if you guys are wondering. And then when you're all done, you just gotta pop it down. Now finishing things up with the rest of the rear. First off, you guys can see we have this pretty understated spoiler here on the back end. And then here's a quick look at what the turn signals look like. Really like the style of taillights here with the GTI. I think that looks great. More parking sensors here at the bottom than you guys can see with the GTI logo and the Volkswagen logo. And then pretty aggressive looking exhaust tips here at the bottom. And yeah, that pretty much caps things off for the exterior. Now popping inside here with the GTI, first off, you guys can see really nice padding here on the door panel. Then got our window control, pretty normal stuff, grab handle. And then here are the seats. They're pretty exciting. You've got the gray there, you have the red stitching, and then notice down there in the center. And then if I actually pop in, it's a little bit more cramped back here than it should be because this seat is pushed back somewhat. That's a little bit more realistic, but still not like massive. But you know, I fit. So that's all good. And then you guys can see got a little storage pocket down below. We actually have heated seats for the back. Man, this is fancy. And We've got our cup holder armrest situation, and I feel like I have a hunch that's a screen, so I'm gonna turn the car on quickly and see if it is, and then if it is, well, I'll film it. Aha, my hunch was correct. That is so you can control the climate for the rear. That's pretty nice. And then you guys can see USBs down below that. So here is the front door panel. You guys can see again with the padding here at the top and then down below. All of our window controls right here with the mirror adjustments. And then here's a quick look at the mirrors. You do have blind spot monitoring. And then here are the front seats. Notice they're a little bit different than the rear seats because they are perforated in the center portion, but they have the same cool red piping. And bolstering on them is actually pretty dang aggressive. Memory seat function here. And then we have our power adjustments. And then look at the pedals. Those are beautiful. I like the vent here on the side. And I like this trim too. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Anyways, you guys saw the light controls from when I did the whole light thing there on a little pad. A lot of Audi touches in this, but let's pop in. So here's the steering wheel for the GTI, and I'd say that this is pretty special. So really nice leather trim all around, perforated here on the sides. You can get a slightly better grip where your hands are gonna be most of the time. Got the GTI logo. Paddle shifters here on the back for the dual clutch. And then look at this, we actually have like adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist as well. Volume controls here on the steering wheel. And then we have like our heated steering wheel button, some controls for the center stack, voice command controls as well. So yeah, I just love the overall look of it. Definitely just, yeah, it looks great. Turn signal stock, windshield wiper stock, and there you go. So here's the center gauge cluster. It's a full digital gauge cluster, and I guess right now we are in the sport mode, so it's all red and aggressive. But anyways, I can press the view button and notice that this functions just like Audi's virtual cockpit. Obviously, it looks a little bit different with the overall formatting, but I mean, it's just cool, all the different menus you can scroll through, and like the gauge cluster is super customizable, which I really appreciate, because then you can just basically make it look like whatever you want it to look like, which I think is definitely fun. But moving on from that to the different drive modes. So right now we're in the sport. If I pop it into the comfort mode, actually it's always red. Oh, there we go. Eco mode makes it so it's not red, and we have a custom mode as well. So it's interesting that comfort and sport are both red. Well, speaking of red, here's the infotainment system, which is also red. First off, we're gonna pop into reverse. We do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And you actually hear the little Volkswagen logo on the back open up to let the camera pop out, which is fun. But yeah, parking sensors, like I said earlier, resolution of the camera is great. It's not a huge car, so you don't need like a 360 camera system. It would be complete overkill. Now, as for the touchscreen itself, response time's fantastic. It's actually really easy to use. I feel like it's pretty intuitive, despite what a lot of people are saying with their reviews on this whole system. And it's cool that you have like ambient lighting that you can go through. That look at the names on this. Euphoria. That is definitely interesting with the names. So obviously moving on from that part of the infotainment system to the controls down below, this is what everyone's been complaining about, is these controls, because it's like a slider. Honestly, I find it to be pretty intuitive in terms of like how this functions, because you just slide your finger to go up and down, and I just turned on the volume. I guess I just made some points for some people because I tried to do the temperature and did the volume. But you can also kind of like just lightly tap. So like if you don't want it to be doing crazy stuff, you don't have to slide with it. So yeah, I don't really have any complaints on that front. Now down below, we've got some shortcut buttons. So like, for example, I can press this and it'll pull up the, well, it'll pull up the climate menu right there. And you got the drive mode one too. And it's cool how it has like the little background there on the side of the Golf for the different drive modes. And then we do have a wireless phone charging pad right here, and then we have this like little random storage thing. I love the engine stop start button. And then we do have some piano black trim here in the center, but then the rest, there's like no piano black trim. And then we have like the little shaver thing to actually put it into gear, which is definitely unique. And we got these cup holders. That's interesting. It's always interesting to me when automakers do these like pop-out cup holders. I mean, it makes complete sense because, well, it means that you can use this for more than one thing. And then we got a little 12 volt right there. And then got the center console with nice, again, red stitching to kind of match the rest of the interior. And then here's the glove box, pretty normal glove box. Again, I really like that trim here. And yeah, just overall with the design on this interior, I think they did a really good job. So you have the sunroof here. All you have to do is just pull this back, and yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward with the opening on that. You have a little slider there to actually open up the roof itself, and just a darker colored headliner. So here's a window sticker on this Golf GTI Autobahn. You guys can see all of the standard equipment, and almost everything is standard equipment, actually. Now, just like other Volkswagen models, this has a 4-year, 50,000 mile on the new vehicle warranty. Now, base MSRP with the Autobahn package is $39,130. This does have some options. So the DSG transmission is actually a no-charge option, so that's interesting that they basically give it to you for free. You don't have to pay any extra for it. And then this does have a credit, so it doesn't have the premium sound system added to it. Total MSRP on this one after destination is $41,000 on the dot. Anyways, let's see how it drives. Okay, so let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, and you can hopefully now see the heads-up display. Both of the mirrors. Then through the rest of the rear. And let's set off. Okay, so we are setting off here in the GTI, and fair warning, there's a lot of construction here in Salt Lake right now, and so the video is probably gonna be somewhat like stoppy and starty, just because, yeah, I don't think that you guys want to see me just sitting at like lights and all that kind of stuff for the longest time. But anyways, first off, seat comfort's actually really good with the new GTI, and that's something that is not very prevalent within this segment of hot hatches. Now, like the Civic Type R, those seats are actually pretty dang comfortable, but I owned a Ford Focus RS for a while. Those seats, not really all that comfortable. They did hold you in place really well, but these seats also have like really aggressive bolsters that hold you in place pretty dang well. And then, you know, just like, yeah, any of the other vehicles, they don't have seats that are quite this comfortable. And that's one of the benefits of going for the GTI. And something else, like, I know I kind of mentioned this in the walk around, but like the interior on this definitely feels more upscale, I guess more mature is another way to put it. And I mean, you got nice functions, like you guys can see here with the seats themselves. We have heated and cooled seats. Like, this has a bunch of luxury features that you typically just don't get in this segment. Okay, so we are actually getting up and moving here, and I guess this will be good to test the suspension comfort, because this road is seriously beat up from all of the construction that is happening right now. It's actually doing a really good job. This drives more like a luxury car than a hot hatch. And I realized I didn't set down my tripod. Always got to make sure the thing's down, because it just decides to go all over the place whenever I do these reviews. Something else to mention is this transmission's not doing like annoying dual clutch stuff. Like, it's smooth, and it's not like when I'm slowing down and everything, it's not jerky or anything like that. I'm really impressed with the overall tuning and everything. Okay, so now I've got it in the sport mode, and I noticed that the exhaust got a little bit louder in the sport mode. Yeah, you can hear a little bit more. It kind of does the you know, little dual clutch farts when it upshifts, which is always fun. I'm gonna actually do this in, oh, actually I was already in the S mode. I'm gonna pop this in the manual mode. Yeah, those gear shifts are very seamless. Now, some other stuff here with the Golf GTI is just, yeah, it's so, like, the biggest thing I'm getting from this is it's so comfortable. So I have to go slow through here anyway, so I'm actually gonna pop it back into the comfort, which is the daily driving setting. And yeah, it's just like, when you're in the comfort setting, I mean, and it's also pretty quiet in here. Like, you do hear a little bit of road noise with the tires. That's kind of expected. But, you know, aside from that, yeah, this pretty much just feels, it feels like a lot of, you know, entry-level luxury cars. So like, think Audi A series, and even like the S series, that kind of takes things up a little bit. But yeah, think like, you know, I guess like Audi A4, for example. I think that would be a good one to kind of compare this to when it comes to like the overall size of the car and then the ride comfort and everything. It's impressive. Okay, so I'm in the manual mode and the sport mode again, and well, we're gonna wait a second, and then we're gonna get a little acceleration. Nice little pops there. Yeah, I mean, it definitely gets up and moves a little bit. That is for sure. Yeah, this dual clutch is just instant with the gear shifts. I just realized I just missed my turn, so we're gonna turn up here and hopefully this gets us back to where we're supposed to go. I was having like too much fun with the transmission and the car and everything to realize where I was supposed to be going, I suppose. But I guess this will. I do feel a little bit of like loss of grip from the front end when I kind of get on it at low speeds. But it's honestly not bad at all. Yeah, now in the sport mode, it's definitely, you can tell the suspension's definitely firmer. So if I pop back over to comfort, yeah, everything softens up. And you know, ultimately this is a pretty, it's a relatively small car, so you're not gonna get the benefits of like a super long wheelbase vehicle where you can float over everything. But, I mean, for what this is, it's really good. And because the seats are so comfortable, I think that it kind of mitigates, yeah, this road's perfect for showing this. Yeah, it kind of mitigates quite a bit of the discomfort you might have because you're just kind of cozy. Okay, so summing things up here with the GTI. This is a fun car. I really like this, honestly. We gotta go back in the sport mode because the sport mode's where it's at. I think this looks great on the outside. I think the interior, especially considering the price point and the segment this is in, is great. The handling's fantastic. It's really fun to drive. Like, I saw some videos of people being pretty critical of this because they said that, you know, the handling wasn't what they expected and all that. But, I mean, it's a fun car to drive. It's really fun. So, yeah, I think if you're looking for a fun daily driver, but then also can, like, double as, like, pretty much a luxury car. Like, it's right there. It has the features. It has the comfort. If you want a car that really does, it does it all, as people will say with the GTI and with the Golf R, it really does do it all. But one thing to say is a lot of people are probably going to be trying to get the Golf R because that's all-wheel drive, this is front-wheel drive. What I will say is with the limited slip differential, it does a really good job of putting down the power. And so if you live in a place like Utah here where it snows, just get winter tires and throw those on during the winter. And with the limited slip differential, like, this is going to perform as well as most all-wheel drive cars in those winter conditions. So you don't really need to, you know, get the R, and the R is a lot harder to get than one of these GTIs right now. That's going to sum things up with our video on this GTI. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the strong Volkswagen here in Salt Lake City, Utah for giving me some time with this GTI. Check out the inventory in the description down below. Ask for Alex if you have any questions. I'll see ya.